Chapter 5. Matt reclined on the couch in the McGuire's living room, holding his cell phone to his ear. He wore a pair of sunglasses and a silk scarf wrapped loosely around his neck. His normally spiky brown hair was stiff with extra hair gel. As he spoke, he held a compact mirror at arm's length and examined his reflection. "Lanny, can't you do anything about this overhead lighting?" Matt whined into the phone. "It makes me look old." He listened for a moment. "Fine," he said, snapping the compact shut. "Be that way." Holding the phone away from his ear, he screamed, "Mom, I need help, now." Mrs. McGuire rushed into the living room. "What's wrong?" she asked, startled. Matt casually glanced up at her. "Can you turn the lights down?" Without waiting for a reply, he said, "Thanks, you're a doll," and turned his attention back to the cell phone. Mrs. McGuire stared at her son in disbelief. "You called me in here to turn the lights down for you?" she asked angrily. "Uh-huh, they were aging me. Tell her, Lanny," he said into the phone. Mrs. McGuire looked at Lanny, who was sitting at the other end of the couch. Lanny nodded briefly, then lifted a hand and coolly examined his fingernails. Mrs. McGuire turned back to Matt. "Matt, I am your mother, not your flunky. Keep it up and you're going to be grounded," she said. "And I told you to stop playing with the cell phones." She grabbed the phones out of Matt and Lanny's hands and stormed out of the room. Matt fell back against the pillows and heaved a sigh. "It's so hard to get good help these days," he said. "Lanny, turn down the lights." Lanny cocked an eyebrow at Matt. "Excuse me?" "Lanny, we're a team," Matt said impatiently. "I perform and you help me." Lanny narrowed his eyes accusingly. "That's not what I mean, Lanny," Matt said. Lanny shook his head sadly. "I haven't changed, Lanny. You've changed," Matt shouted. Lanny stared blankly at Matt. He didn't have anything more to say to him. "Fine," Matt snapped. "Forget it. Just leave then." Lanny stood up. With a proud flick of his head, he turned and stomped out the door. Alone on the couch, Matt picked up the mirror and gazed at his reflection. "Ah, the doorbell," he said sadly. He sniffed slightly and wiped a tear from his eye. "I'll get that." Chapter 6. The next day at school, Lizzie could barely contain herself. She was so excited. Kate was on her way back. Claire was on her way down, and it was all because of Lizzie's genius plan. "Gordo, this is brilliant," Lizzie said as they took their seats in science class. "The buzz around Kate is huge." "So how's it going?" Gordo asked. "Well, this morning I told Parker Kinney in social studies, and by English I had Jeannie Woods telling me about Kate's aunt," Miranda reported. "It's great," Lizzie said, glancing back at Kate, who was seated in the back of the room. "Everyone totally believes that Kate Aunt was a Laker girl." Just then Claire sauntered into the classroom, followed by two of her minions. They walked straight over to Kate. Gordo nodded at them. "Looks like our plan's about to be put to the test," he remarked. "There may be rough waters ahead, but this plan is unsinkable." "Kate, I heard about your famous cheerleading aunt," Claire said, loud enough for the whole classroom to hear. "What an amazing coincidence that she suddenly appears when you suddenly disappeared from the social world." Kate's face turned red. "Listen," she said quickly, "I didn't start the rumor." "Of course you didn't," Claire said sarcastically. "I'm sure it's part of some elaborate scheme to make you popular again." "Not." The other cheerleaders giggled. Kate looked mortified. "I can't believe the plan didn't work," Lizzie thought. "It seemed like it was unsinkable. I think we're going to need a bigger boat." "It's really pathetic, Kate," Claire told her. "Take some advice from a former friend. Give it up." Tossing her long mane of curly hair, she walked away. The other cheerleaders trailed after her. Lizzie watched as Kate slumped down miserably in her seat. "So," Lizzie said, turning to Miranda and Gordo, "what's plan B?" At lunch that afternoon, Lizzie, Miranda, and Gordo spotted Kate sitting alone in a corner of the quad, picking at a salad. Lizzie couldn't take it anymore. She picked up her tray and headed right toward her. Gordo and Miranda followed, not quite knowing what was about to happen. "Is this seat taken?" Lizzie asked, pointing to the grass next to Kate. Kate squinted up at her. "You can't be serious," she said. I can't believe it myself," Gordo said, "but here we are." "So scooch over, Sanders," Miranda added. Kate scooted over to make room. They set their trays down and began to eat. For a moment, everyone chewed in uncomfortable silence. Lizzie couldn't hold it in any longer. She had to come clean. "I'm sorry about the rumor," she blurted out. Kate groaned. "You guys started the rumor? Thanks for making my life even more miserable. We thought it would help," Lizzie told her. "Help what? Help Claire?" Kate snapped. "Actually, Kate and I can't believe I'm saying this. We were trying to help you," Gordo said. Kate looked at them, utterly surprised. "Why would you guys want to help me?" "Because everybody needs a friend," Lizzie told her. "And you obviously don't have any," Miranda added. "And we don't want to be 'em," Gordo said, to make this perfectly clear. "So we have to get your old ones back." Kate shook her head. "There's nothing you can do to help me," she said hopelessly. "Think," Lizzie told her. "There's gotta be something." "I can't be a cheerleader with my arm in a sling," Kate whined. "You can't do any stunts with one arm." That was it. A huge light bulb flipped on in Lizzie's head. "There's tons of stunts you can do with one arm," Lizzie said excitedly. Plan D was here. Like what? Kate looked doubtful. Cartwheels, roundoffs, tons of stuff. When I was doing rhythmic gymnastics, most of the stunts were one-handed, Lizzie explained. Miranda's eyes opened wide. Lizzie, that's it, she cried. Grotto turned to Kate. What are you doing after school today? He asked, ready to get the plan in motion. Kate made a face. Grotto, I may not be popular anymore, but I'm not that desperate. Miranda rolled her eyes. No, she said, slowly. Lizzie is going to train you to do one-armed stunts. Grotto shared a look with Miranda. The sooner they got Kate out of their hair, the better. Kate's face softened. She looked at Lizzie. You're going to teach me? You would do that for me? She asked quietly. Oh, look at her. She's harmless. Lizzie smiled. Sure, it's totally easy. You'll get the hang of it in no time. And we get to put Claire in her place, Miranda added. What a witch. Kate looked at her. Miranda shrugged. Like you weren't thinking it, she said.